अगर लिविंग आप निकाल ही नहीं पाओगे तो पूरा लाइफ आपका स्ट्रेसफुल हो जाएगा। तो सारे
बिल्कुल।
प्लान्स ऐसे बोलते हैं मेटीरियली कि अगर आपने पैशन को फॉलो करो तो मनी विल, यू डोंट शुडंट थिंक मच अबाउट मनी, बट
जी
थोड़ा एक प्रैक्टिकल ओवरव्यू भी होना चाहिए। आप बस वो थॉट्स दे दो, बाकी वो पूरा उसका उसका पूरा एक बैलेंस बना के फिर वो सोच लेंगे, दे विल फाइंड अ वे आउट।
जी 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 जी,
ऐसा है।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
और
प्रभु जी, बिल्कुल सही कह रहे
और प्रभु जी, दूसरा ये है कि अगर आपने स्पिरिचुअल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से उनको एडवांस कर दिया है, उनको नॉलेज दे दी है, तो कृष्णा विलिंग वो कभी भी, मतलब वो जो भी चूज करेंगे, जो भी करेंगे, एक अच्छा ही होगा। अगर स्पिरिचुअल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखा जाए तो बोलते हैं ना, जो भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, एज लॉन्ग एज आप कृष्ण के शेल्टर में हो, आप अपना स्पिरिचुअल जो कमिटमेंट है वो अच्छी तरह से निभा रहे हो। आई थिंक वॉट एवर यू चूज, वो लोग जो भी करेंगे अच्छी सक्सेस अचीव ही करेंगे
हैं। जी,
ऐसे।
very nice Prabhu ji, very nicely put. Hare Krishna, and let's hear from Mataji as well. Hare Krishna Mataji, then we
Hare
pronounce
Krishna,
you.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Sorry, my computer was playing up, so I didn't follow
No
the whole
worry.
of your conversation. I think you were talking about telling children about what to do, whether to go for degree course or not. Is that correct?
That's correct Mataji, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Now I'll tell you one example. My nephew, he was
Mm-hmm.
born and brought up here, and when he finished his primary education, coming to go to the college, he wanted to go to one particular college, which was not 100% as per what the parents felt. So,
Mm-hmm.
so and because all his friends were going there, but then the parents knew that he has great potential to learn
Mm-hmm.
something more, do something more rather than go to this big great college. So
Wow.
they tried to sort of talk into him to go
Mm-hmm.
into a sort of a private college for 2 years where he can get good grades, and then he can go into what he wants to do. He eventually agreed, though reluctantly. He went
Yeah.
to this private college for 2 years, and parents spent, as you saw, a hell lot of money on him. But
Yeah.
then he got very good marks. He could have gone into the medicine, Imperial College, but he chose dentistry. But
Okay.
now, because he's chosen this path, he's become full-fledged dentist. He's become masters in the dentistry. He's got his own practice in dentistry. He's doing quite well. So, if I think that was fate, because what the parents told him, and he agreed. If he had not agreed, he would have gone to a second-class college, and we wouldn't know what would have been the outcome.
True.
So it is a bit tricky situation, isn't it? What to
It
do
is.
and what not to do. We can
Yes.
only guide them. And I think he was fortunate enough that he agreed to what the parents told him. That was the
Mhm.
good thing.
Yes. Yes. Very true. Thank you for sharing that, Mataji. And it's so true, as you said. It's very tricky, and this is what we're saying that Anil Prabhuji's, Ajay Prabhuji's son is going to get university next year, and hopefully Aryan will start the university following year. And then Anil Prabhuji got Jay, his son, in few years' time. And we all are in that stage where we need to inspire. And as you know, in UK, you can't even force. Like you use the correct word that it was lucky that the child listened, because if your nephew didn't, he being in the West here in UK,
Yeah.
the children, they have the choice. They can always say no to parents, and parents can't do anything.
Yes. Understand. Yeah.
I,
Agree.
un- Hare Krishna. Ajay Prabhuji.
Yes, yes, agree. 100% agree. We can give the direction.
We can give the
Ji.
direction. Yes, we can give the direction, and and the and we should leave to the children to decide what they want to do.
Yeah, we have to just give them like what are the pros and cons of like
For
what
pros
if you
and
take
cons.
the
Yes,
action
absolutely.
basically.
Pros
Yes.
and the cons, and let him decide. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yes,
this
it's
is
very
the
important, isn't it?
best.
The children don't listen to the parents like what we used to
No.
do.
Yes.
No, no. So, but we have to move with the times. That's the whole thing, isn't it? We
Of course.
can't cause friction with the children just
Yeah.
because imposing our views on them. And coming to that, there have been a lot of suicides in school children in India
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, that's true.
That's
Wow.
Recent.
because
Cool.
what they did and what the force
Yeah.
from any source, from teachers or parents or whatever it was.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
happening in Delhi.
Anyway, good discussion. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Uh,
Thank you.
Hari bol.
Prabhuji, one more
Please.
example from practical life is, when Jai was appearing for his grammar school
Yes.
exam,
Mhm.
at that very point, I tried to teach him some methods of doing maths,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and he
Yes.
and he ends up telling me that, see, Dad, these are all old fashioned ways of doing things.
Yeah.
You read maths decades back, and world
Yeah.
has evolved since then. And he
Yeah.
said, the modern way of doing it, the latest way of doing it is that. And
Mhm.
I used to argue with him a little bit, and then following which I stopped taking active interest in his preparations, and I let him be. I said there's no point in, because जब भी हम लोग पढ़ने बैठते थे, आर्ग्यूमेंट पढ़ने से ज़्यादा आर्ग्यूमेंट होती थी.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
I said, okay, let him take charge, let him do what he wants. So I
Mhm.
gave him that liberty and independency to do things, and luckily for him, he still cracked it using his methods.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind of gives us also some kind of confidence in children, that
Mhm.
okay, fine, maybe what they are saying is true, maybe what we are telling them is based on experience years back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we also have to keep eyes and ears open to their ideas, and
Good.
subscribe at times.
100%
Subscribe.
agree.
Yeah.
100% agree, Anil Prabhuji. This is the same case I have gone through already.
Mhm.
uh,
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes they know like a better than us and like a more advanced way, and they are like very open minded, and they have a lot of knowledge than us, and they
yeah.
always said, "Oh, you didn't learn here. There's a
Yeah.
different way."
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly, Prabhuji.
Very nice. So, and it's great to hear that we all, and I would say the same while I was discussing, because we do maths and physics still do, and now Arun started doing ecom. And even there, he would ask some questions, or he would just throw a few things while I will go and visit him in his room. He's doing some homework, and he will say, "Would you know the answer for this?" And he would just challenge. And with the experience I have learned, so if I don't, I will just say, "No, I don't." Even better than that, most of the time I just say, "Well, this way I will do, but which way will you prefer?" And I think giving that space and respect
Yeah.
to the kids, that see, I appreciate that this is my way, your way could be a bit different. So I felt the very same. And luckily enough, I didn't force, but I remember another god brother of ours, and we all know him, but I won't take his name. But he said that I tried once with my son, and very soon I realized that I can't teach him my ways. And he said, after
Yeah.
that, never ever I even tried. Never ever. So whenever we meet, I always have a good laugh with him, and he accepts. He said, yeah. And it did work out. His kids, I think his both kids went to Wilson's, and Prabhuji is doing well, and the kids are doing well.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah, I think like what Mataji said, with the time we do need to move, and again, still, I would say there's a lot of support. Like even if I won't go around, Aryan will love to discuss, which is a great, not to challenge but to discuss. And sometimes he will throw a few things, and he will get surprised because I'm from side, most of us are from science. And then if he's doing econ, he knows that I didn't do econ in university, but he will ask something about interest rates, and then he was surprised that I knew something about it. And I said, well, see, I didn't go to the university to do it, but of course we bought the house, and then we know how those things work.
Yeah.
And okay. I said, well, practical knowledge is also important with the theory. So both they go hand in hand. And then he understood and appreciated more the importance of what we call the summer placements or the work experiences. And it's again the respect, the mutual respect for each other. That I think that's the way forward. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's great, and that's why like Kana is here. I would like Arun is gone at the moment, but I have requested him to come along as well in these sessions, and our kids are growing up now. So they might, even though Arun and Shivani, they are there in the kids session as well, but it's good that they could come on to these sessions as well, and as and when get the chance, put their thoughts forward, which is good for all of us, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah, we need to have that bridge between two generations. The stronger the bridge is, better it is, because of course they are going to explore. I don't think how until unless we will develop further and further ourselves, which we usually don't. I think Benjamin Franklin said it, and Keshav Maharaji used this in his presentations number of times. Recently, in University of Cambridge, he did the presentation, and he said, I think it's Benjamin Franklin whose quote he used, that most of the people die at the age of 25, but don't get buried by the age of 75. And so then he loves engaging audience. Then he said, of course, what that means that people die at 25, they are not buried at 75. So what happens? What died at 25? And then people said, well, the hope died and the creativity died. And he said, yeah, those are the things. And then, of course, the list goes on and on. And that presentation is there on, well, the whole talk is there on his channel. He has two channels. One is SB, Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaji, and Wisdom That Breathes. So if you would like to follow him there, great presentations he's doing across the world. And I think if we would like to keep that from 25 to further, of course, most of us could be in 40s, 50s, then he gave some spiritual insights which we can have. And creativity, thinking, and accepting others, they're a big part of it, which is learning from everywhere, not just have a very narrow perspective, that widen the perspective. And because we will always have something to offer to our kids. But in order for them to listen to us, I think we have to listen to them first. Then only they will listen. Otherwise, they will miss out on what we can offer. So,
correct.
Hare Krishna. Great. Thank you so much. Great discussion. And that's the reason I think that kids will get benefit out of it as well, along with ourselves. And the reflection got to be there. Now, someone else said that I'm spiritual, but when I go to my office, I become material. And Prabhupada said, if you are a mango, you will be mango. Doesn't really matter wherever you will put me. So if we are spiritual, people will find us spiritual everywhere. But of course, at the same time, another question was asked that if you are going to be spiritual and spiritually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji gave the verses, Ashtakam, only 8 verses, and one of the first one is that we need to be as humble as a blade of the grass. I said, well, if you will go and become as humble as blade of the glass in material life, then people will run over you. And then Maharaji explained, then of course, you need to have the framework to protect yourself. Don't let others run over you. By the same time, be humble. So you will always be humble, but you always need to protect yourself as well. So both will go hand in hand. And that's what, of course, a lot of Vaishnava acharyas, they did it as well. They, but of course, the way of protection is different. Sometimes it's intellectual, sometimes it's physical. But acharyas will do like what Chanakya did. And Prabhupada ji quoted Chanakya a lot in his purpose. And what Chanakya did was a lot more intellectual kind of protection. And we all know the results which came. So all those wisdoms, I think we could easily gather. But great. Right. So let's continue with our nectar of instruction, and we will share these things, the qualities we develop, and hopefully we will be able to pass on to the other generation. So this is all due to the hard work from Shri Rupa Goswami ji, who put together nectar of instruction in Hindi or Sanskrit, Updeshamrit. And then when you go forward, it's in a different language. We didn't understand it. It's a very old scripture written around 500 years back. Srila Prabhupada ji around maybe 40, 50 years back translated all that for us in English, and then his disciples in many other foreign languages. So these days, whether it's Russian, Chinese, Japanese, or French, German, Spanish, any language you could think of, these scriptures are available because Srila Prabhupada made it available in one of the universal languages, English, and then other devotees could easily translate it further. And it's not just the literature, it's the devotional service. So it's Prabhupada always said it's not just the noun or adjective, it's a verb, which means that you need to do some action in it. Let's do Mangla Charan, and a great thought is coming, which I was discussing with some of the friends, and these friends are materially very successful, but also spiritually inclined. And I posed a question at them, and didn't get any reply back yet. Couple of days passed in a group chat, but I think it's very relevant to all of us what we are discussing here. So we will have a discussion now. But let's do the Mangala Charan, take the blessings of Guru, Vaishnavas, and the Lordship. Om. अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन गुरुवै श्रीगुरुवै नमः। चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथवितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सवादूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पातरुभ्यश्च सिन्धुभ्य एव च नाम पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा
कृष्ण
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 हरे 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 राम
राम
हरे
हरे
राम
राम
राम राम हरे हरे। श्री गुरुदेव महाराज की
जय
जय, प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
जय श्री राधे श्याम। Hare Krishna. I welcome everyone in today's session on Nectar of Instruction. And we started, and it's verse 1, which we have done couple of sessions. Before that, we did the preface. तो सभी भक्तों का, हिंदी भाषी भक्तों का भी स्वागत है। हम नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन, नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन, उपदेश अमृत, ये रूप गोस्वामी जी जो चैतन्य महाप्रभु जी के डायरेक्ट डिसाइपल रहे हैं, उन्होंने चैतन्य महाप्रभु जी से ज्ञान, नॉलेज, इंस्ट्रक्शंस लेके भक्तों के लिए इंस्ट्रक्शंस बनाई हैं। और दो उपदेश हैं, एक उपदेशामृत है एक भक्ति सिंधु है, नेक्टर ऑफ डिवोशन. So हम ocean of devotion, but nectar of devotion we call it. Nectar of instruction will give us the instructions, and nectar of devotion will give us the intricacies of devotion. नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन, उपदेशामृत से हमको वो उपदेश मिलते हैं जो हमें करना चाहिए, और इन उपदेशों को करने के बाद में हम नेक्टर ऑफ डिवोशन को समझ पाने में ज्यादा काबिल बन पाएंगे. We will become capable of understanding nectar of devotion. In yoga, Ashtang yoga, there are 8 steps. The last one is samadhi, which is, let's say, enlightenment, where we are fully Krishna consciousness, maybe. But the very first step, yam niyam, what to do, what not to do. And then obviously later pratihara, what pratihara, food, how to eat food, what to eat food. So these are the foundation, these are the grounds on top of which we can make the samadhi possible later, many years later. Or of course, how fast we are going. But remember, these things, they are very simple, but they are very important to lay down the foundation. Without the foundation, whenever we do the construction, within the construction, the very first thing is the foundation. And if the foundation is not strong, foundation is not the deep, we cannot build up. And that's what we always say. So whenever our parents contact me and say that what we can do for the kids, then I say, most of the time, I think maybe 99 out of 100%, parents are always focused on material side. Materially, like we were discussing, the best school, grammar school, best sixth form, Mataji mentioned about the private college, spend as much as we can do, and which is great. We should do wherever we can support. And then materially, they will have, if you think about they have the nursery, they have the primary school, they have the secondary school, they have the college, they have the university, they get the best young professional industry, whichever they will go. And these are like material building stories going up high. And we would love to see our kids grow materially higher. But until and unless they have the strong spiritual foundation, the risk is this building can fall anytime. And that's the reason we see, Mataji was saying, in India, even school children, of course, been going on for many years, when one of the most prestigious engineering institute, IIT, for example, they have done it. The suicide rate is there. These are the best of the best students, and they have such a great career at the front. But why do they fall down? Because they don't have the spiritual. If they understand that, maybe it's much easier for them to accept the defeat, what they believe the defeat is. It's another thing, our perception. Someone else said it, one of the great philosopher, that only at the end I realized that I didn't live my own life. I lived someone else's life. I lived others' life, others' expectations from me, others' perceptions of me. I never lived my life. So ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि भौतिक स्तर पर हम अपने लिए भी, अपने आने वाले पीढ़ी के लिए हम सारी सुविधाएं उनको दें, जितना उनको सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं करें. बट स्पिरिचुअल फाउंडेशन, आध्यात्म का ज्ञान अगर उनके पास है, तो भौतिक संसार ऊपर नीचे होता रहेगा, जिसके जो जरूरी है होगा ही और होना भी चाहिए. दुख आल्ले है तो दुख आल्ले में दुख ही मिलेगा, लेकिन वो दुख को सहने की क्षमता, दुख को समझने की क्षमता, वो आध्यात्म से आती है. एंड अगेन केशव महाराज जी ने एक लेक्चर में कहा कि जो स्पिरिचुअल लोगों के साथ में जब कुछ गलत होता है, जब मटेरियल लोगों के साथ में कुछ गलत होता है, वो कहते हैं कि मेरे साथ क्यों. बट जब स्पिरिचुअल लोगों के साथ में कुछ गलत होता है, वो ये कहते हैं कि ये जो हुआ है, इससे मैं सीख क्या सकता हूँ. So when something goes wrong in the materialistic people's life, they say, why me? And during COVID time, I can't tell you how many people were in touch saying, why me? And my own Mosaji, who was Goswami in Barsana, he lost his life due to COVID. Why me? But spiritual people, they never ask this. Interesting enough, my Mosi ji, who lives in Vrindavan, and she never said, why me? I remember what she said was that Radha Rani ji, of course, because it's in Vrindavan, Radhe Radhe, even more dearer than Krishna. So, and being associated with Barsana, it's all about Radha. Even the kids I know since childhood, everything is due to Radha ji, everything. And so what happened? Why Mosaji died? Mosaji said, well, Radhaji's plan. We can't understand that. Whatever Radhaji wants. Never. I mean, it was amazing that, and she didn't do any scriptures. She just served her husband, Mosaji. That's it. And of course, helped the kids to grow what they are, which is great. They are materially all degree holders, like we were discussing. Degrees are important. And my Mosaji is a son. He is a Goswami and he's doing the full time. He's doing PhD in chemistry, and he is a Goswami doing all the pujas in Barsana temple. So the balance could be possible. This is one of the examples. But again, a spiritual foundation should be there. And this verse, the first 4 verses of Nectar of Instruction, they are the foundation. तो फाउंडेशन बनाने के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है, हमें ये समझने के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है। हमारे साथ हमारी लाइफ में कभी कुछ हो तो हमें बस ये देखना है कि हम इससे सीख क्या सकते हैं, rather than why me. I think well, another materialistic example, but a great example we'll share maybe later. It's a tennis player in UK. Is interesting enough, tennis player in UK. I think he's from UK, yeah. And our Amol Amol Leela Prabhuji from Delhi, from Dwarka temple in India, he uses his example a lot. And we will see what we can learn from him. But coming back to the verse, so the verse itself, as we discussed before, Vacho Vegam Mansaha Krodha Vegam. Vegam is the flow. Vacho Vegam, the speech, we need to control that. Mansaha, mind. Krodh, anger. So we need to control the flow, Vegam of all. Jiva Vegam. Jiva is, of course, the tongue. Udar upastha. So this is the belly, the tummy, etan. Etan vegan yogishyate dhiraha. This is again the definition of someone who is enlightened. If you remember in Bhagavad Gita also, chapter 2 at the end, and then later in chapter 3, Krishna answered Arjun's question when Arjun said, so who is this Sthit Pragya? The word being used is Sthit Pragya. And Sthit Pragya is, the word used here is Dhira. Etan vegan yo vishyatahe dhira. Sarvam apimam prithvim sasishya. The one who is like that, dhira. And dhira in Hindi or Sanskrit also we understand it's somebody who is patient, somebody who is controlled. तो यहाँ पे एक गुरु की डेफिनेशन हम समझ सकते हैं कि एक गुरु कैसा होना चाहिए। वो इंसान जो भक्ति में आगे बढ़ेगा, उसके अंदर ये चीजें अपने आप धीरे धीरे मैनिफेस्टेशन होंगी। तो भक्त अगर हम किसी को कहते हैं तो ये उसकी क्वालिटीज होंगी। अगर हम कहें मैंगो, तो मैंगो की एक क्वालिटी है, आप आंखें बंद करके भी वो फल को खाएंगे तो आप बता सकते हैं कि ये मैंगो है। अलग अलग प्रकार के मैंगो हो सकते हैं। ऐसे ही लेमन अगर खाएंगे तो आप खाते ही बता सकते हैं कि ये खट्टा है। कुछ लोग स्मेल से ही बता सकते हैं, क्यों? क्योंकि वो उसकी क्वालिटी है। पूरे वर्ल्ड में आप कहीं पर भी हो, लेमन की वो क्वालिटी है, वो क्वालिटी उसको लेमन बनाती है। राइट? ऐसे ही भक्त की क्वालिटी भक्त को भक्त बनाती है, उसके कपड़े, बाहर का एक्सटर्नल अटायर उसको भक्त नहीं बनाता। हाँ, वो भी एक उसकी क्वालिटी बन सकती है, पर उसकी कोई गारंटी नहीं है। हो सकता है भक्त ऐसे ही दिखते हो सकता है, लेकिन क्या वो दिखाने के लिए बनते हैं, या वाकई उनके अंदर से ऐसा है कि भाई अब तो यही सादगी जो प्रभुपाद जी ने कही कि सादगी, सिंपल लिविंग एंड हाई थिंकिंग। विचारों में हम अपने रिच हैं, पर हमारी जो लिविंग है वो बहुत सिंपल, वेरी वेरी सिंपल, एंड दैट्स व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू डू। सो नथिंग हियर टू गो एंड become the CEO of the market, which of course you can if you want to. And those who are inspired enough, because we all have our background, we all have our intrinsic qualities, which could make us Brahmin, which could make us Kshatriya, which could make us Vaishya, and which could make us Shudra. So Shudra, most of the people will do the service. Vaishya will get into the business. And then Kshatriya will go and get into the administrative jobs. And then Brahmins would be more than happy just reading scriptures, sharing scriptures, doing worship, and inspiring others to do worship. That's it. There are 6 qualities of Brahmins. So we can never say that only Brahmins will be devotees. हम कभी भी ऐसा नहीं कर पाएंगे। और भागवतम के अंदर बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स ऐसे हैं, जैसे कि ध्रुव महाराज, परीक्षित महाराज, ये सभी अगर हम देखें, ये ग्रेट भक्त, बहुत बहुत हम एंड में देखते हैं परीक्षित महाराज, युधिष्ठिर महाराज। अर्जुन खुद कहते थे कि मैं छोड़ के चला जाऊंगा, मैं मेडिटेशन करूंगा। भगवान ने कहा नहीं, आप क्षत्रिय हो, आप कर ही नहीं पाओगे मेडिटेशन वहां पे। आपकी जो मेडिटेशन है वो, जैसे प्रभु जी बता रहे थे 5th वर्स के अंदर, 5th चैप्टर भगवत गीता, निष्काम कर्म योग। भगवान खुद कहते हैं भगवत गीता में कि कर्म तो मैं भी करता हूं, क्योंकि अगर मैं कर्म नहीं करूंगा, जैसे कि आया कि स्थित प्रज्ञ क्या करते हैं, स्थित प्रज्ञ, यही डेफिनेशन जो यहाँ पर दी है भगवत गीता में भी है, स्थित प्रज्ञ कैसे चलते हैं, कैसे बोलते हैं, कैसे उठते हैं, कैसे खाते हैं, वो अपनी लाइफ से एक एग्जाम्पल बनाते हैं कि हमें ऐसा होना चाहिए। ऐसे ही भगवान कृष्ण ने कहा अगर मैं कर्म नहीं करूंगा तो लोगों के पास गलत एग्जाम्पल जाएगा, इस वजह से मैं भी कर्म करता हूं। तो अर्जुन, बिना कर्म किए तो कोई रह ही नहीं सकता। और जब भी हम कर्म करेंगे तो हमें अपनी जो इंट्रिंसिक क्वालिटी है, किस आश्रम में हम आ रहे हैं, और वो हमको ध्यान रखना चाहिए। हम द सेम व्हाट वी वर डिस्कसिंग इवन फॉर आवर चिल्ड्रन एज वेल, we should not force them to do anything, but we should give, of course we need to identify if we can, and then make the environment for them so they will progress themselves. It's like a plant. We give the soil, we give the sunshine, we give the water, we give the nutrients, we mature them. But after that, whether the plant will come or not, it's on to the plant. And hopefully, most of the time, plant will come out. But what kind of plant will come out? Based on the seed. Based on the seed. We can only provide the surroundings, but the seed, whatever the seed is, and when the child is born, the seed comes with the child, right? And if we would do a discussion again, one of the lectures. So we, most of the time we say we all have a soul, and we have 10 minutes here, but this is a great point. If anyone would like to say, do you agree with this that we have a soul? Maharaj ji asked this question in one of the sessions. Anyone would like to contribute? क्या हम, हमारे पास आत्मा है, क्या हम इस बात से मानते हैं? Do we have a soul?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes, definitely I have a soul.
Yes.
Um, and it's a matter of realization. You can realize the thought, the entire thought process, the entire good and the bad thoughts that come to your mind, someone guiding you all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can obviously, it's a matter of realization as well. Obviously spiritually we believe that we are a soul, but then if you go by your day-to-day experience and from practical perspective also, you can very much realize that there's something that is telling you what to do, what not to do,
Hmm.
guiding you and things like that. So obviously that element is soul.
Yes.
So both from spiritual and materialistic perspective, if you see, there is a soul.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
Of course. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mataji, please.
Yes, I believe in what Prabhuji has just said, that it's our scriptures, it's what we have learned right from the beginning, that we are the material body, which is just a covering, and
Mm.
that the soul is there. And then something which we used to call it like a sixth sense, something that is
Yes.
directing us. And
Hmm.
we start believing into sixth sense, and we think that there is something there in our heart, in the region of the heart, that is telling us what to do. And
Hmm.
surprisingly, I try to follow what my intuition or whatever my sixth sense is telling me. And sometimes, most of the time, it's proved to be quite correct. It says
Yeah.
do something, and if you don't do it, then it doesn't matter. But if you do it, then it will be the correct thing to do. So that
Great.
something I believe is the soul within us, something
Yes.
more than what we are.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, and thank you so much, Prabhuji. So the paradigm shift here is that we have body, which of course we know, like Mataji also said, the external covering. And Prabhuji mentioned about the mind. We have a mind, but actually we don't have a soul. We are a soul. So this is the point. When we refer to the hand, we say this is my hand, but we never say this is my soul. When we say I or we refer to the soul.
Yeah.
So when someone dies, we say the body has left. Or when we say he has left or she has left, the soul has left the body. And when I say I, am I referring to my body or I'm referring to the soul? So
Okay.
I think we are so well, whatever you said is absolutely correct in a sense that yes, of course, the soul is there and the body is there and the mind is there. But I think we have identified ourselves so much with the body and mind that we also consider soul as a second. Not that we are soul, we have a soul. But we don't have a soul, we are a soul. So when we say I, that is the soul saying I. And when we say the body or the mind, then it's different. And this is evident in all the spiritualists. So somebody said to Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he had a throat cancer and he died due to throat cancer. Somebody said, "Oh, you look, are you in pain?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm in pain." He said, "But I still see that you're blissful." And then he said, "Of course, I am blissful. This body is painful." This is there, Paramahansa, when Paramahansa Yogananji, when he left the body, he actually announced that I am going to leave the body on that day, which was very new for America. He left his body in America. He was from, I think he was Bengali to start with, but later on he spent rest of the time in and he got a big foundation at the moment, doing great job. But he was in America, so many American disciples he made. And for Americans, it was amazing to see when he said, "I'm going to leave my body then." Swami Vivekananda ji, of course, said, I will never see 40. And he left at 39. And he said it many years before, and he had no disease whatsoever. But he said, I'm going to leave it before that. Because he had a mission. He said, I'm going to complete that mission. Before that, I'm going to leave. I am going to leave. The soul is going to leave the body. So spiritualists always, of course, these are big names. These are the realized souls. And a Russian direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada ji, right at the time of his death, his last verses were, the last words to his disciples, he said, Srila Prabhupada ji wasn't lying. He was correct. Because as we say, at the time of death, we can see the reality. And at that time, he said he wasn't lying. Now, why did he say that? His disciples are still trying to understand, or in own words, try to express, but those were his words. Srila Prabhupada ji himself, his departure, the way he left the body. Left the body. He left the body. Soul left the body. And if we understand this one thing, and of course, like what Prabhuji said, and Mataji also said it on the similar concept, that is there in the scriptures, we just need to realize it. But once we realize, probably, that is what the self-realization is. Because after that, we will remember that chapter 2 begins with the knowledge, Atma Jnana, which is the knowledge of the soul. And then the soul cannot be cut into pieces, soul cannot be dried, soul cannot be wet. We cannot, soul is indestructible, undestructible. You can't do anything wrong, which means nothing can happen to me. Yes, my body will die. Yes, my mind will be in stress or tension. But me, which is the soul, will never get affected at all. Any thoughts on that, please?
Yes, Prabhuji, very good point you made, that soul is that he or she has left. So it's something to think about for me, that this is what you have discussed, what we just told today.
Yes. And this is possible, Mataji. I'll give you a very live example. Yesterday, nearly midnight, just before midnight, I got a message from a good friend who lives here in London. And his father was sick for a while, and yesterday he left me the message that dad is no more. So yesterday night, his dad passed away. And I know him for a while now, and they were preparing for his departure. And I actually said to him that, and he's not well, whenever we have the spiritual function, he comes along. He's not very spiritual as such, but he has accepted it. That, yeah, body will go, and he found out some disease in the body, and yeah, my dad is going to go, no problem. So he found some solace when we had a chat, and then I offered few more things, but I realized that he already accepted that, and that it's going to go away. We can't do much with it. Yeah, of course, it's a personal loss which will never be filled, but at the same time, you accept it. It's the reality of the life which we all struggle with. But if we remember that, at that point, like someone else said, that if we remember one day we're gonna die, we will never waste our time. We will neither waste our time nor we will fight with anyone. We will never fight. Remember when somebody dies at the time of eulogy, hardly anyone will say bad things about the person. We never say that. And if we remember all the time that this person is not doing bad things, because the Atma is Satchitananda. The person has identified himself or herself with the body and the mind, and his body and mind doing it, and body and mind going to go away anyways. So whom are, like Krishna said it. Krishna said, Arjun, you are sad. For whom? I see all these bodies. They are going to die anyways. And then if you see beyond them, the Atma, you can't touch Atma, and that's why he started with Atma. Then why are you sorrow? The way Krishna replied was like he chuckled. He was laughing on Arjun. Hey Arjun, what are you saying? The word there is durbal. In Sanskrit, he said, what kind of mentality do you have? Are you crying for the body, which is anyways going to die? Doesn't really matter how much you're going to care for it. Or are you crying for the soul, which will never die? So whichever way you look, material or spiritual, then there is no point of sorrow. And if we understand that, then this verse, Vacho Vegam Mansaha Krodha Vegam, what we speak, what we think, and the anger will just dissolve. And I will finish here. This is from Upanishad. When a person get enlightened, not that all the answers get, all the questions get answered, they get dissolved. I will say that again. When the person get enlightened, now whatever the enlightened mean, we can discuss that later. But when the person get enlightened, not that all his or her questions get answered, the questions get dissolved. ऐसा नहीं है कि सारे प्रश्नों का उत्तर मिल जाता है, पर जब आत्मज्ञान की प्राप्ति होती है तब इंसान के प्रश्न डिसॉल्व हो जाते हैं, इवेपोरेट हो जाते हैं, प्रश्न बचते ही नहीं है. Great point to stop and keep that mind. Maybe we will start from this point next session. And there's a lot more we can do with these verses, because these verses, they are going to make us the foundation for our spirituality, or even materially. Who will not want their kids to have this or ours to have it? Mataji, please.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Just a different point. I'm going to be away for next 2 weeks.
Oh,
So
yes. Yes.
Hare
Krishna.
Yeah.
We will miss your association, Mataji.
Yes, I will miss you too. So just letting you know that I won't be here. We come back on the 17th of December. We fly on next Saturday.
Right. We wish for your great Krishna conscious journey, Yatra Mataji. Have a great time and take good care of yourself. And looking forward to have you in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Then we pronounce. And
Hare
with
Krishna,
that,
Babu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Maharaj
Hey,
ki
Prabhuji.
jai.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Then we pronounce to everyone. Thank you so much. Look forward to see you next week. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare.